What if I told you that one of history's most infamous killers still walks in the shadows of London? Even today, his name strikes fear into the hearts of many. This is the story of Jack the Ripper, the man we will never know, but whose crimes haunt the world forever. London, 1888. A thick, suffocating fog rolled through the narrow, gas-lit streets of Whitechapel. This was a district of stark contrasts, home to the poor, the desperate, the forgotten. They walked these grimy alleys day and night, completely unaware of the monstrous shadow that had begun to stretch among them. From this fog, from this desperation, Jack the Ripper emerged. He was a phantom, a whisper in the night. No one knew who he was. A doctor with a chilling knowledge of human anatomy? A local butcher accustomed to the sight of blood? Or perhaps a well-dressed gentleman hiding a dark secret behind a polished exterior? No one could say for sure, but one thing became terrifyingly clear. Every woman he encountered in the dead of night never walked away alive. The reign of terror began on a cold August morning. The first victim was Mary Ann Nichols, a 43-year-old woman found discarded in the street. Her throat had been brutally cut, and her body was mutilated in ways that shocked even the most hardened police officers of the era. The news hit the city like a shockwave. A collective gasp echoed through the streets of London, and fear spread like wildfire. Suddenly, every dark alley felt menacing. Every man lingering in the shadows became a potential suspect. This was only the beginning. Jack's first gruesome strike was a declaration, a promise of the horror to come. The streets of Whitechapel would never be the same again. The London Metropolitan Police were thrown into a desperate, frantic search. They questioned hundreds of people, from butchers and doctors to sailors and vagrants. But Jack was like a ghost. He seemed to materialize out of the fog, commit his heinous acts, and then vanish without a trace. He left no fingerprints, no murder weapon, no reliable witnesses. His only signature was the sheer horror he left behind on the bodies of his victims. As the city reeled in terror, letters began to arrive at local newspapers and the police headquarters. Some were signed with the chilling moniker, "From Hell." These letters were a mix of taunts, clues, and mockery, often ridiculing the police for their inability to catch him. Was Jack the Ripper a man, a vengeful ghost risen from the slums, or something far, far darker? The public was terrified, caught in a nightmare where the killer was everywhere and nowhere at once. The terror intensified between August and November of 1888. During this short period, 5 women met their end at the hands of the Ripper. They are now known as the Canonical Five: Mary Ann Nichols, Annie Chapman, Elizabeth Stride, Catherine Eddowes, and finally, Mary Jane Kelly. Each murder was more brutal and more audacious than the last. Each victim was left in a public or semi-public place, almost as if Jack wanted the city to confront the full scope of his depravity. He wasn't just killing. He seemed to be performing. There was a method to his madness, a terrifying pattern that suggested he was studying his victims, planning his strikes with meticulous care. For him, this was a gruesome game, and the stakes were nothing less than life and death. The entire city of London was his unwilling audience, and the cobbled streets of Whitechapel were his stage. So, who was he? This question consumed the minds of everyone, from Scotland Yard detectives to the ordinary man on the street. Speculation ran wild. The precision of the wounds led many to believe he was a surgeon or someone with extensive anatomical knowledge. Others suspected he was a member of the upper class, a man of high society using his privilege as a cloak to hide his monstrous deeds. Could he have been a royal? An artist? Or was he simply a monster born from the squalor of the streets, a product of the very environment he terrorized? We will never know for sure. And that very uncertainty The fact that he could have been anyone is what made him so utterly terrifying. Even today, over a century later, historians and amateur sleuths continue to debate the most famous question in all of true crime. Who was Jack the Ripper? The immediate aftermath of the murders changed Whitechapel forever. A palpable fear gripped the district. Shutters on shops closed earlier. Windows were barred and doors were double-bolted. Women, who once walked the streets alone, now moved in pairs, many carrying knives or makeshift weapons for their own protection. But Jack's legend quickly grew larger than the man himself. His infamy spread beyond the grimy alleys of London. People who had never set foot in the city felt the chill of his name. Decades passed, but the story refused to die. The name Jack the Ripper became a permanent fixture in the global consciousness, a shorthand for pure, anonymous evil that still sends a shiver down the spine. Ultimately, the story of Jack the Ripper is a story without an ending. There was no arrest, no trial, no justice for the women he murdered. The mystery itself became the core of the horror. The void left by his identity was filled with countless books, movies, and chilling stories that kept the terror alive for future generations. Jack the Ripper was not just a man. He became a symbol. He is the fear of the unknown, the embodiment of the darkness that can lurk just beneath the surface of any city and any street. He is a timeless boogeyman, a cautionary tale written in blood. So, what is it that makes Jack the Ripper so unforgettable? It's not just the brutal killings or the shocking mutilations. It's the fact that he remains a shadow, a faceless phantom in our history. He forces us to look into the dark corners of our world, at the parts of society we often choose to ignore. And he forces us to ask ourselves a deeply unsettling question. How close is the darkness to us? Because in the end, Jack the Ripper may be long gone from the streets of Whitechapel, but the fear he created, the chilling idea of the unknown killer, that walks with us still. So next time you find yourself walking alone down a dark, empty street when the fog is rolling in and the only sound is your own footsteps, remember Whitechapel, 1888. Remember the man we never caught. And remember the shadow that still whispers from the depths of history. From hell? I watch. Thanks for watching. If you found this journey into the dark fascinating, be sure to subscribe for more tailies from the shadows.